The Local Show, featuring conversations with business owners, employees, and local business leaders about their successes, challenges, and reasons for doing business. Right here in Central New York. The Local Show is locally produced by Zoey Advertising. Now your hosts, Tom and Steve.
All right, we're back, and that means that you are too. Happy summertime to you and to my co-host, Steve
Maybe
Roberts.
they're not back. Maybe they just got here.
Yes.
They got in their car, they're running around, they're doing their
That's
thing,
right.
and they're like, who are those two idiots? Oh, it's those guys, the Local Show.
That's the irony. That's what makes it funny. But now that you've drawn attention to it, it's not funny anymore. It's
I like
just
ruining everything.
It's just weird.
Oh, there we go.
You're just so
You're
weird.
just so weird, Tom.
That's it. We have the pleasure of speaking with someone new to the show. Let's not scare him away, prematurely. His name is Rick Rarick, and he's the board chairman of Matthew 25 Farm, part of Onondaga Grown, which is a big deal around here. If you want to follow along on the website, it's Matthew25farm.com. Matthew25farm.com. Rick, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you for having me on the show.
Well, it's great to have you here. Anyone who buffers between me and Steve, I'm happy for, so thank you. So, Rick, what is your story? Give us your backstory personally, and then we'll talk about how you got involved with this farm.
Well, I was born and raised right here in Syracuse, New York. Grew up spending time between Lafayette and Pompey.
Beautiful.
Spent my college years down in Maryland, 10 wonderful years on the Eastern Shore.
10 years?
Yes.
Was it because you were brilliant or not so smart?
I was going to school to be a teacher, and then I spent several years down there teaching.
Oh, okay, great.
And then in 2008, my father told me about a church he was opening, and he was interested in starting a school and wanted me to move home to help him start the school.
Oh, wow.
Unfortunately, when I did move home, he started having some health issues, and the school kind of got put on the back burner.
Yeah.
But during that year, my brother had come up with the idea of the Matthew 25 Farm. Mm-hmm. And the next spring, we were off and running.
Wow.
Running where? What is the Matthew 25 Farm?
The Matthew 25 Farm is a local not-for-profit with the simple goal of providing free, fresh fruits and vegetables to our local families in need and our local food pantries.
How do you get the money to farm then?
It's difficult, to say the least. We write a lot of grants. One recently that we're working on is the Kubota Hometown Proud Grant. We do fundraisers. We just recently, this past weekend, at Sunset Ridge in Marcellus, we had our golf tournament.
Nice.
Which we raised quite a bit of money.
Great place. I just have a DJ company. I played a wedding reception there a few weeks ago, talked with the owners and everything. Great people out there.
Oh, absolutely. Fantastic course and fantastic folks out there.
Yeah.
So, how big is the farm?
Our farm is 35 acres. We used to have two locations. We used to have one in Lafayette and one in Tully, but unfortunately after the pandemic, we did have to close one of our locations. But yeah, we have 35 acres. We have 2 high tunnels. We have an orchard.
Well, what's a high tunnel?
A high tunnel is a greenhouse on steroids, is how I like to explain it.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me more.
It allows us to grow earlier in the season and later in the season. So normally if you're a grower in central New York and you're planting your tomatoes, you plant them outside usually in the end of May because you're trying to avoid a frost.
Gotcha.
At the Matthew 25 Farm, we plant our tomatoes and our high tunnels at the end of April.
Nice.
And again,
To extend the growing season.
about 2 months, a month earlier and a month later in the season.
Okay. Is the farm located somewhere between Lafayette and Pompey? Because I didn't know there was anything between Lafayette and Pompey. Are you still in that area?
It's a void.
We are currently, it's called the Hamlet of Vesper, but the mailing address would be Tully, New York.
Okay. Vesper. You know where that is, Tom?
No. Actually,
Oh,
I don't know if I've seen a sign.
Yeah.
Vesper is one of those wonderful towns. It is a fantastic little, more
Hamlet?
like a hamlet.
Yeah,
Yes, more like a
hamlet,
hamlet. If you blink, you're going to be through it.
It's sort of like a Pula, right?
Yes, very much so. Yep.
So if the Central Food Bank, we've had Lynn High on here several times, would they get food from you?
Absolutely.
What
yes.
kind of food would you provide for them?
The Central New York Food Bank, since that's such a large organization, usually that's going to be apples.
Okay.
When we're doing our daily donations, we're usually giving to not what I would say smaller food pantries, but places like Assumption, places like the Northeast Community Center, the Lafayette Outreach. there are 37 food pantries that we donate to over 5 counties. Our biggest issue is being able to grow enough food to give them to all those pantries that are in need.
Yeah. How do you employ people?
Well, we have 2...
Or do they volunteer?
Well, we have 2 full-time employees, myself and our farm manager, David Aronson, and then my mother, Elizabeth, is our secretary, and she is part-time. Mm-hmm. We are based on volunteers, so we're always looking for folks to come out and help at the Matthew 25 farm. We've had some wonderful volunteers over the years. Probably the best group, the boys from Fayetteville Manlius Honor Society made a group called the FM Fresh Meals, and they're one of our weekly groups.
Oh wow! So they come out and pick stuff. Am I making that too simple?
I'd love to say that the only thing that the boys do is pick, but in the springtime we'll ask them to plant, and more recently they actually were weeding, and I was quite proud of them, because if you tell people that they're going to be weeding,
that's tough.
all of a sudden they're busy and they can't come out to the farm.
Yeah, if the poster says weed, maybe that attracts the wrong crowd.
Yeah, right.
Just saying. So where do the apples come from? Are they your apples, or do other farms donate apples? Or tell us about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So we do have our own orchard. It's not very large, but it does produce. We were just actually picking pristine apples today, which is a cross of Honeycrisp and Yellow Transparent.
Ooh, yeah.
And most people wouldn't think that apples would be ready this time of year, but Yellow Transparents are ready at the end of July, early August.
Gotcha.
So a pristine being a cross between a Honeycrisp and a Yellow Transparent, they're ready right now. And we actually picked 4 boxes this morning. But we do partner, I'm glad you asked, with 2 different local orchards currently. Clearview, which is a wholesale orchard. You can't go to Clearview and pick yourselves. Mm-hmm. But also O'Neill's Orchard in Lafayette, right off of Route 20.
But yeah, great
and
people.
Keith O'Neill has been fantastic, a fantastic friend to the farm, letting us come and glean, pick apples at the end of the season. We'll fill up our pickup truck and then go right out and head out to the food pantries and donate them.
Any animals on the farm, or is this all just plants?
Just our dogs.
Yes. Okay.
Yes, we are a dog-friendly crew.
Yeah.
We don't have any pigs, chickens, or cows at the moment right now on the farm.
Yeah.
If somebody did want to come to the Matthew 25 farm and you're in a weird chance scared of dogs or allergic to dogs, just let us know ahead of time and we can.
Or don't come. You're allergic. You're scared of a dog. Come on, it's a dog. Cat, I understand, because I can't stand cats.
Hey, tell us about the Christian component to this.
Well, Matthew 25:35 says, "For I was hungry and you gave me something to eat."
Okay.
So that is where the vision of the farm came from. When my brother first got this message, he kept telling me that we were going to start this farm together. And to me, it seemed like a pipe dream. Mm. And he kept telling me, we're going to start this farm, or we're going to start this farm. And I guess I was doubting Thomas.
Yeah.
And it started as part of our church, Christ Chapel in Vesper, New York. And then, so we started under that umbrella. And then eventually, after a couple of years, we became our own 501c3.
Gotcha. Very nice.
So if people wanted to donate to help feed people locally, they can do that through you?
Absolutely.
So if they go to Matthew 25 Farm, Tom, you ready for that?
Go ahead,
Matthew 25 Farm. It's like .com, not .org, right? It's .com. Is the website. Either one.
Yep.
They can access that, or maybe they have a group or a business or an organization that wants to maybe do 3 hours a week or a month and bring a team down there to help. Are you open for things like that?
Absolutely. We're always looking for more volunteers.
Well, that sounds pretty cool.
Wonderful.
Tom.
Well, thank you for what you do and all your people do, and what Mom does back there. I'm sure she's, had to be mom and secretary and everything else. All right. Rick Rarick right there, board chairman of Matthew 25 Farm, Matthew25farm.com. Thank you, and have a great rest of the day.
Thank you so much for having me.
Coming up next, we're going to talk with Aaron Look, owner of Glass Doctors, right here in Syracuse, New York. So we'll talk to him next on The Local Show.